Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's class. Today we'll be discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, verse 38, and the chapter is entitled Lord Chaitanya and Five Features. We are getting into a very nice part where many students, philosophers, gyanis were able to surrender at the lotus feet of the Lord, and it continues to show how the Lord was able to have them surrender, and in this verse is going to speak more about how the Lord devised many methods. So I'm very curious to hear about this beautiful nectar, and we're very happy to have His Holiness Chandramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada.
Article. Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. I'm on the verge of death right now, so.
That is what Srimati just called me, so I had a plan B. And when I showed you, when you showed up, I closed the plan B and came to plan A.
Well, I decided not to die right away until after the class. So.
Marge, you're not going anywhere, Marge.
Tell that to higher powers.
I will try with my little meager weakness of Marge. I will pray for you, Marge.
I have something else for you, if you don't mind. Can you
Yes,
do
Marge.
the Bengali and also the
And read
translation?
it?
Yeah, everything.
Sure. Sure, Marge.
I'll
No
get
problem.
the class if you just do all the reading.
No problem, Marge. I can do that now. Sabarnista rite Prabhu Kripa Avatara Sabarnista rite Kare Chaturi Apara. Transition and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. Purport. It is the concern of the Acharya to show mercy to the fallen souls. In this connection, Desha Kalapatra, the place, the time, and the object, should be taken into consideration. Since the European and American boys and girls in our Krishna consciousness movement preach together, less intelligent men criticize that they are mingling without restriction. In Europe and America, boys and girls mingle unrestrictedly and have equal rights. Therefore, it is not possible to completely separate the men from the women. However, we are thoroughly instructing both men and women how to preach. And actually, they are preaching wonderfully. Of course, we very strictly prohibit illicit sex. Both boys and girls who are not married are not allowed to sleep together or live together, and there are separate arrangements for boys and girls in every temple. Grihasthas live outside the temple, for in the temple we do not allow even husband and wife to live together. The results of this are wonderful. Both men and women are preaching the gospel of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna with redoubled strength. In this verse, the words Sabha Nishtarite Kare Chaturi Apara indicate that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to deliver one and all. Therefore, it is a principle that a preacher must strictly follow the rules and regulations laid down in the Shastras, yet at the same time devise a means by which the preaching work to reclaim the fallen may go on with full force.
Omagyan Timidandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Militamina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Prabhupada has given us a legacy. The legacy is to continue by expanding this movement to many different categories of people around the world. In order to do that, it takes some intelligence on how to organize in such a way that people will be receptive to our message. We're preaching in so many different countries, and countries have their culture, they have their language, they have their tradition. So we need to somehow or other learn a little bit about the people we're preaching to, and that way we can be more effective in bringing a larger group or a larger array of people into Krishna conscious. It's interesting to note that Srila Prabhupada, um, when he first came to New York, he decided to study the New York culture, or you might say the American culture. And he would go down to 42nd Street in New York and stand there and just watch, seeing how people were walking, interacting, talking. And he was doing a personal study in a general way. So Prabhupada showed us by example. We may not have to do that, but we should take insight when it comes to preaching, how to reach people in different categories. Um, of course, what works for everyone is kirtan. Of course, that inspires everyone because it seems to some people some kind of, well, we say, entertainment, singing, dancing, like that. But it's the highest form of spiritual, uh, uh, form of spiritual expression is the Harinam Sankirtan. But then we kind of see when we're giving classes or going to different areas how to, and devotees have been very eclectic, knowing how to do it. They went to Africa and they went to even Muslim countries. They went to countries where people had no idea what Krishna consciousness was, but somehow or other, due to their strong desire to capture such persons, results were coming. And now we can see, after more than 60 years of Krishna consciousness, we are, yeah, actually, it's almost, actually 70 years, almost 70 years of Krishna consciousness. There's practically hardly any countries that haven't been touched by Krishna consciousness in some form or another. And Prabhupada shows in a very intelligent way, using his own observation, how the tradition was to engage men into the temple and engage women to come to the temple and become practitioners, but live in their homes. That was, but then again, Prabhupada saw that wouldn't work in America or even in many Western countries because, as it says, they want equal rights. And so when it comes to spiritual activities, equal rights is a foundation for preaching. And so devotees are very expert seeing how to reach other conditioned souls. And sometimes we use even the most, what we say, out of the ordinary means of uh, preaching by doing various types of programs, engaging people to come forward and give their own understanding of their spiritual life. There has been books also written in this regard also. So when Prabhupada did this change with boys and girls, he was questioned. He was criticized actually very strongly. But then he was questioned by his own devotees. And Prabhupada said, because I've done it, I've become successful. And then the Prabhupada started to speak about principle and detail. A principle is something that cannot be changed. A detail is time, place, and circumstance. So, in engaging a larger group of people, such as ladies, and giving them equal opportunity for service and association, Prabhupada changed the detail. He didn't change the principle. Principles are foundational. Such the principles are, you have to chant 16 rounds. Principles, you have to follow the 4 regulative principles. Sometimes even devotees, they want to adjust the 4 regulative principles. Prabhupada said no. 4 regulative principles cannot be adjusted, compromised, or anything. These are all principles. They are foundations for becoming free from the influence of the material energy. Prabhupada said these 4, illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, are the pillars of all sinful activities. And one who can follow or restrict themselves from these 4 completely can also be free from all other forms of sinful activity. Because within these 4, all other forms of sinful activities are there in a very less obvious way, but they're there. So this is a very important point for devotees. That way, devotees don't get, well, I can't preach. What do I know? Well, you read the books and you repeat. That's all. And you'll see how people respond to your words. And if you see there's something there, well, what really it takes for devotees to inspire others is conviction. We have to be convinced within ourselves and within the society also that Krishna consciousness is the only means to save the world from all of its calamities and to purify the heart and to bring people back to their actual relationship with the Supreme Lord. I was listening to Srila Prabhupada today, and he was talking about very big people in the material world. He says they have no understanding. They may have so many qualifications, positions, and followers, but they have no understanding of what is the goal of life. But so therefore we're teaching, of course, we don't immediately speak about the goal of life when we first preach. We get them interested in the process through kirtan, through prasadam, programs. Just like on Saturday past, we went to one holy place. It's called Mahendragiri, which is the place where um, Parasuram lives. He's there today. Parasuram is a Chiranjivan. It means he doesn't die. There are 7 or 8 Chiranjivans, people who never die. They stay on the earth until the next millennium. Vibhishan is one of them, the brother of Ravana. People say they still see Vibhishan. He comes out of the ocean in Jagannath Puri. He's big. And then you have, who else are Chiranjivans? You got
Lord Hanuman, Hanuman, Hanuman,
Hanuman's Chiranjivan. Yeah.
Aswathama, Guru Maharaj.
As, Asvatama.
Bali,
But
Bali, Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj is a Chiranjivan. Bali Maharaj, I think Kripacharya also is
Yes.
Chiranjivan.
And Vibhishana also.
Yeah, we said that.
Vyasdev,
No.
Vyasadeva? I think so. He stays in Badrik Ashram, Adibadri, not in the lower forms of Badrik Ashram, but in the highest forms of Badrik Ashram, way high in the Himalayas. No one can go up that high. It's not possible. So yeah, we have so many persons who, but actually Asvatthama is interesting. Since you mentioned him, I'm going to give you a little insight. You know, he was cursed to never die because of his offenses to Draupadi and the Pandavas, like killing Draupadi's children. And so he was driven out, and because of his offenses, his body became full of bad smell. No one could go near him. The odor was too obnoxious. So now, the latest news, and this is within the last year or so, a couple of years, he's in Vrindavan and he's chanting the holy name of the Lord. People see him in Vrindavan. Now he's becoming purified by his chanting. And once he reaches purification through the chanting of the holy name, he will, in the next millennium, become one of the Saptarishis. There's a planet called Shirodakshai Vishnu, which is Dhruvaloka, where Lord Shirodakshai is there on one island called Svetadweep. And so that island is circumambulated by 7 great souls. And these 7 great souls change after every millennium. So in his next millennium, he will become a Chiranjivan. So although he committed such a heinous crime, he's given a chance to reach self-realization. And of course, he suffered tremendously. Imagine 5,000 years of wandering all over the planet, can't associate with anyone. That's a hellish punishment. Everyone likes to be with others, especially those who have similar likings, similar natures. So he was what we say, not allowed to associate with anyone. But now he went to Vrindavan, and soon he will become a Saptarishi in the next millennium. So it's interesting how Krishna works to give even the most heinous fallen souls an opportunity to rectify themselves if they take up the process of, and that's even sometimes devotees in Krishna consciousness, they say, well, I'm so fallen, I'll never be able to become Krishna conscious. That's not the proper attitude, because your efforts will bring the mercy of the Lord, and by the mercy of the Lord you can become successful. But if you think I'm doing it or I'm not doing it, then you're marginalizing your ability to become Krishna Krishna conscious. So yes, devotees should never think, I can't do it, I'm too fallen, I'm I'm this, I'm that, so many labels that we put on ourselves, comparing ourselves with others who are more advanced. And we think, you know, but you can always reach perfection. Maybe not in this life, but if you stay sincerely engaged in devotional service, then suchinam samatam gehe yoga brascha pajayate, that one can again come back in a very good family and continue their spiritual practice. And then ultimately, if they follow, of course, they have a choice. If they follow, they can reach perfection in that life. we see that many of the children who are born in our movement, you can see how advanced they are. They're intelligent. They like Krishna consciousness. I meet these kids all the time in different places. They come up to me, they offer obeisances, they draw pictures of the different deities, and they give it to me and say, "Oh, here's this is for you." And they sing and dance in kirtan. And some of them are only 5 or 6 years old, but still, that means in their previous life they were connected, and they didn't finish up. But now they have a chance, by being born in a good family, to finish up. Okay, so these are some things we can think about here. Let me see if there's anything else we can talk about in this one. Prabhupada, he did make restrictions, although he allowed women and men to associate in the temples, but he did not allow grihastas to live in the temples, husband and wife living together in the temples. Unfortunately, we don't follow that. And I know some temples have had that, and then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. Then the atmosphere becomes polluted. Or if it's not polluted, then people will put more time and energy in family life than instead of in their Krishna conscious practice. But Prabhupada did give some restrictions, although he put down some of the restrictions in order to facilitate everyone to practice Krishna consciousness. Of course, Prabhupada said no crazies or lazies in our temple. He didn't want people who were just coming to fool around and just make a mess. Sometimes we allow such people in, but when we see their behavior, then we say, I think it's better if you visit the temples. So yeah, there were some restrictions because the temple is very important. The atmosphere in the temple must remain pure because Krishna is there in his deity form. The process of bhakti is going on. And there are many serious devotees there who want that kind of atmosphere. And if someone comes in and tries to do something different or mitigate the purity of the atmosphere by bringing their own ideas in, then we say, well, I think it's time for you to understand you're not suited to live in the temple. Not everyone is suited to live in the temple. That is a fact. Yeah, I remember one situation. It was in New York. One husband and wife were living in a temple, and they had their own little place, and they were doing all of their own stuff in their own area. And the husband didn't like anybody else. And he was always harassing other people because he wanted to be in control of his situation. It was very difficult for devotees to get rid of him, but they did in due course of time. I met him personally. I was there, and that was about 3 years ago. So yeah, we have to keep the purity. Temple is a place of devotional service, place of spiritual cultivation, an educational arena where people learn and serve, and come to learn to serve. That's the importance. So temple presidents should be very, what we say, strict in who they allow to come into the temple, give them a chance, but if they don't come up to the standard, then we ask them to leave. Sometimes we see one person, he's living in the temple, never comes to the program, never does any service. He just has his own room and he does whatever he wants. I've seen that also. And everybody says, well, he's old. He doesn't have any place to go. But this doesn't help him. And it doesn't help the devotees around because everyone has influence. We all have influence. We influence each other either in a positive way or a negative way or a combination of both. Everyone has influence. So we should be up to the standard, and temple presidents should also make sure the standard is not decreased simply by being, what we say, compassionate, so-called compassion, by allowing anyone and everyone into the temple. There should be some kind of test before you come in. Based on the test, person will be considered suitable for living or not, like that. Temples are not a place where you just live and you do your business outside. No, temples are for, what we say, spiritual cultivation, education, and devotional service. I know some temples which are very good. They allow people who work, but they have a special section for them. They go to the morning programs. They come to the classes, then they go out and work and come back in the evening. So, but that's a special arrangements to bring them to the next stage because they want to perform devotional service, but they still have their material attachments. So there is some arrangement for that type of people to practice devotional service. But then again, everything is monitored where their behavior and their accountability has to be up to the standard. That's that you can only do that in big temples. You can't do that in small temples. Okay, so we'll stop here.
Thank you, Maharaj, for actually touching on this point because I think it's a very important point in today's ISKCON. Things are changing. We have more young people, and these are very important points to address. We'd like to request devotees. I just stopped sharing, so if you're able to turn on your videos, please do turn on your videos. If any questions, please do raise your hand, and I'll answer it in the order that it's raised. Marge, I have a question, Marge, and that is, I did not know that active Vibhishan is actually existing till today. And I was wondering, Marge, where do we find such information, such knowledge? I had no idea. I was like, cool.
You might not find it written anywhere, but you'll find it by the statements of some great souls.
Okay.
I heard that, and this is what I heard. He comes out of the ocean. He walks out of the ocean. And he comes to see Lord Jagannath in Puri.
And then he goes back again.
Yeah, and then nobody sees him again until whenever he comes again.
Wow. That's like far out, Marge.
Yeah. He's a Chiran Jivan. Also, yeah, who else was a Chiran Jivan? There's so many.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I've heard about Hanuman and Srila Vyasadeva and Ashwatthama, but not about Vibhishan. That was like something really amazing for me. I learned something new today.
He got special mercy. He gave up his attachment for his brother, who he loved very much, and went against his brother in order to support Ram. Vibhishan didn't dislike his brother Ravana. In fact, when Ravana was killed, he cried.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he put his attention on dharma instead of adharma.
Mm-hmm. Marge, did not Vibhishan appear in Gora Lila? If I'm not mistaken, I thought he did, but I may have gotten it mixed up somewhere.
Possible, but I don't know the connection with any
Mm.
person.
I was just wondering. This is really
It's
amazing.
an interesting story.
Yes, Marge, he was very dedicated to Lord Raman. And
Yeah,
Marge, I'm sorry, Marge.
I just if you want to hear the story, I'll
Yes, would love to hear it.
really cute. Uh, he was at his place worshiping the deity of Ram, and he had put up an inscription saying Rama, the name Rama, and his brother. Um, you have to give me a. My mind is not so good today, so um, was, yeah, and Ravana came and he got really angry. You're siding with my enemy. And Vibhishan says, no, my dear brother, this Rama refers to you and your wife, Mandodari, Rama. And then, you know, and then Ravana said, very good, we'll put that all over the, you know, all over the Lanka. So he spread Ram's name like that, Rama, which was Ravana was think him and his wife Mandodari, but sometimes you have to trick the demons in order to get some advancement.
I did not know about that pastime, Marge. That's a really nice pastime. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's
Marge, I don't know if you're aware that your video is off. I don't know if you had it turned off.
I turned it off
That's
because
fine, Marge. No problem. It's fine. I just didn't know if you're off, but it's okay. Marge, there's a question here from Daria. And she said, Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, August of Prabhupada, and you, Maharaj. Thank you for the nice lecture. I have a question regarding purity in the temple. How should we properly deal with situations where we see that personal feelings arise within temple life between devotees that live in the temple? Does it affect the spiritual atmosphere, and how should one deal with it?
well, if the personal dealings are Krishna conscious dealings, fine. Friendly dealings, fine. But if there's argument or dissension or reasons for disagreement, then that should be dealt with by the temple leaders. I mean, Prabhupada also said we should have what is it called? I'm trying to think of what he called it. A board of elders who deal with situations that arise in the temple. And if someone is deviant or not acting properly, they go before the board and then their case is heard and then there's some decision made based on that. Prabhupada liked that. You can hear it. But we just let everybody in the temple and then they make a mess. That's not temple atmosphere. And then we have people who want to bring in their own ideas on how to do worship too, especially in the Indian community. I had a fight so many times on Shiva Ratri. They wanted to do Shiva kirtans in the temple. And also cook prasadam to be offered to Lord Shiva on Shiva Ratri. So we had to stop that. That was in Chicago. That was a great fight.
Did you win the fight, Maharaj?
Yeah, but it wasn't one person, it was a group who
Hare
wanted that.
Krishna.
Because
Yeah,
they use that how Nanda Maharaj went to Ambika Kalna, I think it was Ambika Kalna, or one place where Lord Shiva is worshipped. Now, it's not Ambika Kalna, it's another place. And they say that Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd boys, they worship Lord Shiva on Shiva Ratri. So, but we don't accept that as a form of worship that particular day. Shiva's Vaishnava Yada Shambhu, he's a great personality, but his worship is not to be put along with, he's a deva. We don't worship the demigods. We worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his Vishnu forms. That's all. What was I going to say? There was another thing. And now people are doing Shiva Kirtan. That's another. Prabhupada wrote against that in the Bhagavatam. And we do Krishna Kirtan, not Durga Kirtan, Shiva Kirtan, this Kirtan, that Kirtan.
Marge, one time you mentioned that that is called spiritual khichdi. I remember that in one of your classes.
Khichdi sometimes tastes good, but this is burnt khichdi.
Yes, Maharaj. Absolutely, Maharaj. Completely. It's so, yes, it is. Maharaj, piggybacking on Daria's question, it says in the purport that Lord Chaitanya, and of course Prabhupada, did not break the principles. He just dovetailed the details, even when allowing, men and women to serve together, but they're not living together. And now, as you're mentioning, Marge, there's this kirtan and that kirtan and this kirtan all coming together. And sadly, it's happening within ISKCON. So how can the future, the current and the future generation of devotees really make sure that it doesn't get watered down? Because I see that sometimes happening in different places, and it's very scary, Maharaj.
Well, fortunately, one devotee, Prabhupada disciple's name is Kalakanta.
Yes.
He Krishna houses. He has 12 of them all the way, and he allows people to come and practice Krishna consciousness in an ashram setting, and it's a little less strict. In other words, they can come and live there, they go to the morning program, and they may also leave and come back, leave and go out. And some of them stay there and do services all day. But it's a good way for training and then get them prepared for a more, what we say, streamlined atmosphere. Then they can join the major temples. So we used to call that the Bhakta program. Yeah, we used to have a separate house nearby the temple where men, mostly men, and also some women would come, and they would work under the guidance of one Bhakta leader, and they could visit the temple, but they would live in the Bhakta house. Yeah. So gradually, these are all the ideas on how we can qualify people to come up to the, what we say, standard.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, there's a question here by Prahlad Nashringa, and then I'll go to the hand raised. He's asking, as souls, we accumulate karma and offenses over countless lifetimes, and yet we strive to practice Krishna consciousness in this human form. Given the weight of our past actions, what are our chances of going back to Godhead? Even great personalities like Ashwatthama, despite their spiritual status, struggle to attain freedom from their burdens.
Well, as Prabhupada says, if you follow the process strictly and you remain steady in following that process, you will make advancement to different stages of bhakti, Adao Strata, Sadhu Sangha. Then after Sadhu Sangha, he qualifies for initiation, Bhajana Kriya. After you get initiated, then Anartha Nivritti, then by the grace of the spiritual master and the guidance of the spiritual master, one can free themselves from the anarthas. And once 75% of the anarthas are removed, one can remain steady in Krishna consciousness. That means they're not going to go away. After Nishta becomes mature, it comes to Ruchi, Brahmabhuta Prashanatma Nasochatina Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Malbhakti Lavate Param. So yeah, these are stages by which a devotee traverses through. Stay in the process, and gradually you make more and more advancement. The essence of your advancement is to be very strict in chanting your rounds and be very obedient to serving the ashram according to the dictations of the leadership there. When you see someone who is really interested and they're willing to do whatever you ask them, you can see they're qualified then.
Thank you, Marth. I hope that helped Prahlad Nrsimha Prabhu. I'll go to Did it? Okay, good. Krishna Kaviraj, I'll go to you and then I'll get back to the chat questions. Go ahead.
Very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very much. You said in the class that, as we all know, there are many devotees, and we feel that we don't have any knowledge, and we feel like, how can we preach? How can we speak to others? And also heard on Sunday morning on Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj's class, he was stressing that every devotee has some mercy and they must share it. So what is your message, your instruction, your advice to all of the devotees who are hesitating because of feelings of not having the knowledge, the skills to...
Well, there are people who they can do devotional service, but they're not inclined to, reach out to others. But even in the atmosphere of the temple, you can inspire each other in our devotional service. And so you might not be a traveling preacher or even persons who give class, but as Maharaj was saying, everyone has something they can offer. If you offer something, then what happens is you get more. The more you give to Krishna, the more Krishna gives to you.
Okay.
If you think I can't do it, then you won't do it. But if you think Krishna's mercy can do it, and let me try for Krishna's mercy and do whatever I can do in my devotional service, then you're in the right consciousness.
Maharaj, I always find it very scary, but I do it anyway. Like every time I'm asked to give a class, and I'm terrified, but I do it anyway because I feel I have to. And every time I go out on the street and I to distribute, and I feel scared, but I do it anyway.
Well, the point is, it's good to be terrified because that means you realize you can't do it. Then you call out to Krishna and you say, "My dear Lord, you put me in this situation. Please give me the mercy that I need." And then that opens you up to receive the mercy. If you think you can do it, that's false pride.
Oh, so it's actually okay to be terrified.
It's good.
Oh, wow.
Continue being terrified. It's very good.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
But at some point, you will have to get over that terrified situation when you start seeing, as you continue to preach, that the results are coming. Then you get more, if you're sitting there giving a class, you say, "My dear Srila Prabhupada, my dear spiritual master, I don't know what to say. Please give me the words that will inspire the devotees in Krishna consciousness." These prayers are not just some idle words, they're actually foundational for success in Krishna consciousness.
Very nice question, Krishna Kaviraj. Thank you. Marge, there's a question in the chat by Vrishabhadas. He said that I heard we are not worshiping Lord Buddha, which is an incarnation of Vishnu, because he's speaking against Shastra, and he found that interesting. Can you comment on that, Marge?
We respect Buddha, but we don't follow him. That's all. Buddha is Gnostic, says that. What is it? Yeah. Do you have the Das Avatar prayers in front of you?
I don't, Marge, but I can definitely Google it up.
All right. It's good to hear because I'm getting this thing about Buddha all the time. And maybe some other people will benefit from this.
I think it's Marge, is that the one by Jayadev Goswami?
Yeah.
Okay, I just found it.
Strota.
Yes, yes, I'm going to share that now.
Okay. Go down the page.
The translation. Okay.
Let me see. You went too far. No, go back. Let's see. Nindasi yagya vidya ahaha shruti jatam sadaya hridaya dasita pasugatam kesavadrita buddha sarihira jai jagadisha hare. So he's singing the glories of Buddha. So go down to number 9. Okay. O Kesava, Lord of the universe, O Hoya, who have assumed the form of Buddha, all glories to you, O Buddha, compassionate heart. You decry the slaughtering of poor animals performed according to the rules of Vedic sacrifice. Yeah. So that's Buddha's contribution to eternal religious principles. He stopped the slaughtering. You have to understand that Krishna loves each and every living entity in different bodies equally. And when the animals are being slaughtered, that hurts Krishna for no reason. Because if we think, well, I'm human and they're animals and they're less important, then you don't understand. They're also souls. They also have feelings. They also have children. They also have, a right to live. So Buddha stopped that. Because that was his contribution. O Buddha of compassionate heart. So yeah, he's important.
But
He's
Marge,
God.
I'm sorry.
He's actually God, but in disguise. But he didn't teach worship of the Supreme Lord. He stopped the Vedic sacrifices in the name of using them for animal slaughter.
Vishava, I hope that answered your question because Marge concluded that perfectly, actually. Got the question answered. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? Please do ask, raise your hand. So it's a very nice discussion about Marge, I wanted to ask this is when we were reading the purport and in the translation part of the purport, right? Srila Prabhupada said that yes, that Lord Chaitanya devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. Marge, what are the many methods? I'm curious.
Mm-hmm. For the students, when he was a teacher, he connected all of the verbs in the logic and reason, because he was a teacher of Nyack. He connected every verb to Krishna. When he was there with Prakasananda Saraswati, which will be coming up, he used humility to get their confidence. And then after they saw how humble he was able to speak and gradually show them where they were off. This is two examples. Where else? I can talk about different categories of people. He asked Lord Nityananda, who was an Avaduta, to get married, so he would have more effect in preaching to grihastas. Let's see, there might be others. Yeah, Mayavadis, grihastras. Trying to think of any other examples of Lord Chaitanya.
From this verse, Marge, it actually was making, even at that time, the Supreme Lord was doing scanning, amongst the groups of people at that time and to see how he could preach to them. And Srila Prabhupada so nicely took that and did it in America when he first came. Like he really scanned, checked people out where we're at.
Yeah, it's required. It's called adhikari. Knowing your audience. When you have a mixed audience, then you have to use just general, basic philosophical principles. Devotees are preaching to doctors. Sometimes we go to seminars with doctors. We went seminars with Google executives, with what's that other group? Google, and what's the other one? Another one like Google. Microsoft. We've been face to face with all of these different types of groups. Radhanath Swami was preaching in the House of Parliament in London. So you have to think how you can attract their attention. Like I just did a jail program just on Sunday. So what do you talk about jail program? You talk about that actually freedom is not simply getting out of a confined atmosphere, but freedom is the consciousness of not being restricted by whatever place you're in. In other words, you can let your mind go into other areas. And then wherever your mind is, that's where you are. So we encourage the inmates to keep their mind on Krishna and devotional service chanting. And then they're no longer in jail. Although their bodies may be limited, their consciousness is not.
That was a powerful, yeah, that's pretty powerful, Marge. Different situations got to go with the needs, interest, and concerns of the audience. Really amazing. Thank you.
Also say God appeared in jail.
Yes, that was a nice. Yes, yes, that was a really the icing on the cake. Yep, Marge, absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? Marge, I would like to actually wrap up the class because you had a really long day, and I know you're very, very tired, but I want to make sure that I don't miss out on anyone. If anyone has any questions, please do raise your hand. If not, Maharaj, if with your permission, Maharaj, can I end the class so that you can take rest?
Yeah, I was in two minds whether I should give the class today, but then I decided let me try.
Thank you so much, Marge, I mean, you really inconvenienced yourself for an extra hour. And thank you so much, Marge. And we want to thank all the devotees. We're going to end the class so that Maharaj can take rest in peace. And thank you so much. Vanchakraptibhyascha kripasindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank
His
you.
Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Baba.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Maharaj.
much, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
So
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru
Thank you,
Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Guru
you.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Actually,
Yay.
thank you being here today, Guru Maharaj. You do need rest.
There was medicine.
Medicine for the soul, right, Maharaj? Food for the soul.
Got to deal with the body all day, so I decided let me try a different medicine.
Well, got me thinking now, Maharaj. I'll stop. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
I'll try to make it tomorrow. Let's see. It's again. I'll
Yes,
ask.
Guru Maharaj.
Let's see.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Jai Ho.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Bol.